it's Imelda here, and I have a scrapbook process video for you on this Lay It Out Thursday. It is a 12 by 12 layout that I have created using the Felicity Jane Heidi kit, and that is all that I am using. This time actually, I'm lying. Except for black Heidi Swap Color Shine, that's the only thing that I am using that is not in the kit. So everything else is from the kit. So I am starting here with a photo of my daughter and my grandfather, probably from about 7 years ago. I believe this was my daughter's second birthday. So it's a really old photo, and I've had it printed for a really long time. I just haven't gotten around to finding the right kit and colors to use for this layout, but I feel like Felicity Jane is just so perfect. It comes with a lot of blues and a lot of pinks and yellows, especially this kit, and it's good to mix and match when you want to mix like feminine with masculine in the same layout. So, and I really like Felicity Jane for that. So I am starting here with a pink background paper, not white, and I am using paper from the kit, and it's just one of the colored papers with the white scallop. I did cut the opposite end off, not the end with the branding strip or the scallop, just because I did want to keep that scallop there. And I am going to place that to the right. Now I'm going to start on some layers here, and I already have this scrap piece of paper that I'm about to trim down from the layout that I created last week. And I'm just trimming it down a little bit to size, evening out the edges because I believe I cut them with scissors and it was a little crooked. So I am just going to straighten that off, and I'm going to layer that behind my photo. I really like Felicity Jane for the branding strips that they use. They're not overly out there. They match really well with the papers and the kit. So I really like using those little pieces. So at this point, I'm trying to just figure out where I want this layout to go. I am using or going through some of these Project Life cards, and again, like I've said before, I really only use them for layering, so I don't mind cutting them up, but I was just going through them to see what I wanted to use. I didn't want to use any of the sayings just because I felt it didn't really go with the photo, so I am just going to use this blue and white brush stroke card, and I'm going to layer that behind the photo. So I'm just going to go through the ephemera here. I believe I speed this up for you so you don't have to watch, and I have these little octagon shapes, and I'm just going to bring them in and just sprinkle them all over and just kind of figure out what I want to use. So a little bit about the photo. Like I already said, it is of my daughter Isabella and my grandfather. Now my grandfather passed away probably about, it was about 6 years ago. So this was taken the year before he passed away, and that is why I'm using the tag remember. So we just want to, I don't scrapbook about him a lot. I don't have a lot of photos of him. He didn't really like to take pictures, but when we got to it, they're really awesome pictures. So again, it was her birthday party, and this is one of the very few pictures that I have with him and my kids. So I really wanted to document that, and like I said, I was waiting for the right kit, I guess the right mindset for me to scrapbook it and talk about it, because his passing hit us really hard. So I am thinking at this point that I am going to weight all of my embellishments to the right side as well as with my photo, and I am going to almost do like a vertical base layout, so top to bottom, and the bottom is going to be a little bit heavier only because that's where the photo is. I am not thinking at this point of clustering, although it does end up being clusters just because I guess that's the way that my mind goes. That's where my eyes kind of take things. So I'm just going to adhere this down, and then I'm going to pop this photo mat on some foam, as you will see right now. So I find now that I am almost streamlining my process a little bit better. I found that it's easy for me to figure out where my photo is going to go as well as my layers, and then figure out which embellishments I'm going to use, and then I go back and play around with the placement of everything. So as long as I have a general idea of where I want the big pieces to go, then I come back and I play around with the little pieces, which is what I'm doing now. So everything stays the way it is roughly right now, and I do go back and move some things around. So right now I am just going to add the thread to the tassels, which I absolutely love. My last layout I used the tassels as well, but I didn't use thicker twine. I just used sewing thread, which was okay. I used a lot of strands, so it was okay. But I do prefer this. It's almost like it's almost yarn. It's not yarn. It's not crap. It's not like scrapbooking twine, but for baker's twine, it's just a little bit of a thicker or thinner yarn, I should say. I don't even know. Crochet yarn, maybe? Really thin. Anyways, I'm using it in white, and I really like it. So, oh, that's the other thing that's not in the kit. Not in the kit, but you can get white thread anywhere. So at this point, I've already tied the thread to each piece, each little tassel, and I've just knotted it just above the tassel just so it doesn't slip around in my album. And then I am going to go ahead with my tiny attacher and staple those where I want those placed. I'm going to pop up this remember tag on some foam, and I am going to adhere that down because I do know that I want it to be at the bottom. Under this remember tag, there's a little stamped image that I fussy cut, and I believe it says "One and Only You," something like that. You'll see in the close-ups. So I'm going to stick that down, and then I'm going to go in and adhere with my Scotch Quick Dry glue these little shapes here. So I am going to tuck a couple of them under some of the labels and tags, and yeah. So this one here is just a stamped image that says beautiful. Again, I do this with my kits every time, and I find it's really helpful for me to get some use out of those stamps. Otherwise, I'll kind of just put them away and forget that I have them, or I don't want to stamp directly onto my layout. So I stamp them on white cardstock and then fussy cut them, and then it kind of helps me remember that it's there. So I just kind of put it towards or together with all the ephemera. So right now I'm thinking about what I want my title to be, and right at that moment it had said "the best," but I didn't want to add too many more words to the title, just because that remember is there and it's already so big. So I thought about doing maybe his name or grandpa. In Spanish, we called him Papi Grande, which means like bigger or big older father. But we shortened that. We called him Papa G. So I tried to put that in, and it ended up looking, because Papi is spelled P-A-P-I, which is what the title ends up being. If I put the G after that, it almost looked like it said pig, which I didn't really like. So I just went with Papi. So right now you saw that it just jumped quite a bit forward. One of the video clips for some reason wouldn't upload to my computer. So, but it was really just me playing with the title. Oh, and there's a fly flying around. Playing with the title, and then just adhering some of the layers and stapling the tassels. So that's the point I'm at. I'm going back with some of the ephemera. I feel like there's something missing on the left-hand side. So I am going to use this circle. It's a white circle with black polka dots, and that came from the little container that the tassels came in, it was a little, I don't know what you want to call it, just the little circle paper that comes inside of it. Not really, it's part of the packaging. I always like to use the packaging. As you can see, I have the tissue paper right beside me, and once in a while I will go to that because I just love the black and white. That's cute, it's perfect. And it comes with ribbon, so I have lots of that black ribbon. And I never take the bow out either, because it's already so perfectly, beautifully tied. So I am thinking of using the circle, which I do end up using. So I'm just trying to kind of go through the ephemera again to see what I do want to add to this little cluster to the left. So I trimmed down one of these little strips of paper, the teal, is that teal? Or darker teal with white hearts. So I trimmed that down, and I am going to add the offcut to the left hand side just to kind of balance it out. So I'm going to glue all that down, and I'm going to add these little, they're very, very thin wood veneer shapes, and they're exactly the same, the octagon shape, just a little smaller than the rest that come in the kit, and they're just perfect. So after this, I go in and I add some black ink splatters, like I mentioned before, and yeah, I'm just going to glue it all down, and that's about it. So here come the ink splatters. As soon as I glue this all down, and that's the whole layout. So I want to say thank you so much to all of our new subscribers again. We're so thankful for all of your support, for your comments and your thumbs up. Please let us know if there's anything that you want to see, anything that that you're struggling with working on or working with, and maybe if you let us know, maybe I can come up with how I would use it or how I have used it, and hopefully you can draw some inspiration from that. So again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for joining me today. We'll see you next time. Bye!